أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم ابسط علينا رحمتك وانشر علينا من حكمتك وافتح لنا فتوح العارفين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم آمين يا رب العالمين. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back once again to another episode of An Established Prayer. And on our very last episode, alhamdulillah, we were able to cover at least 5 of the fada'il of wudu, 5 of the fada'il al-wudu'i. And we covered at-tasmiyah wal-mawdi'u al-tahir, which the first one is saying Bismillah at the beginning, and a clean, a pure place where we do wudu, wa qillatul ma'i bila hadd, using a minimal amount of water, but there is no restrictions and there is no limit on that. Wa wad'u al-ina'i 'ala al-yamin in kana maftuhan, and placing the utensil on the right if it has an open neck. And then we mentioned something about wal ghaslatu thaniyatu wa thalitha. That's where we stopped exactly, about the second washing and the third one. Now what's quite fascinating is that there are masail over here on this issue before we even go any further inshallah ta'ala to the other fada'il of wudu. But just to mention on الشيخ العشماوي الرفاعي رحمه الله تعالى هو لا يذكر لنا 11 من الفضائل المذكورة في متن ابن عاشر. He doesn't mention for us the 11 فضائل which are mentioned in Ibn Ashir, لكنه يذكر السبعة فقط. He only mentions 7 of the most important ones which a mubtadi must know, a beginner student on fiqh must know inshallah ta'ala. But we are going to cover all 11 if time allows us inshallah ta'ala for the remainder that we have. That's why I'll be, as usual, I'll be using my sharh on Ibn Ashir, which we have a sharh al-saghir al-musamma ad-durr al-thamin mukhtasar ad-durr al-thamin wal-mawrid al-mu'in, and which is a sharh of al-murshid al-mu'in ala al-daruri min ulum ad-din li al-mayyarah, the student of Ibn Ashir inshallah ta'ala, which will explain further. And you can find the majority of the rest, basically the rest of the other ones inshallah. If we do not mention them here, you'll find them online on our online course bi'idhnillahi al-kareem. Now in terms of al-ghaslatu thaniya wal-ghaslatu thalitha, what are the masail that we find here? Among the masail that we find, Ibn Ashir says وَالشَّفْعُ وَالتَّثْلِيثُ فِي مَغْسُولِنَا, and washing twice or thrice in our wudu as we proceed. What is the mas'ala which is much more important? As we explained earlier on our previous session, is that Al-Imam Malik, he does not trust a beginner or maybe a person who is a ammi, who has no idea of the importance of wudu, and not only that, a person that literally does not have the fiqh or the understanding of wudu, which means that when they do wudu, they do not know that they should be rubbing. Now even if they do, he doesn't trust someone doing only one washing, but in fact we have to do more than one, and that is 2 onwards inshallah. But then there is an issue. The slight issue that we have in hand is the fact that as we are doing wudu, sometimes on our second or third washing, what happens is we doubt, have we done it the second time or have we done it the third time? Have we done it the second time or have we done it the third time? Now the question is, how do we tackle this? This is how we tackle it inshallah ta'ala. هناك ما يسمى في كذلك في Matn ibn Abi Guf, you understand, you find that in Usul al-Fiqh, one of the beginner texts as well in Usul al-Fiqh, he explains that وَضَرَرٌ يُزَالُ وَالتَّيْسِيرُ مَعْ مَشَقَّةٍ يَدُورُ حَيْثُمَا تَقَعْ. And al-darar, which is a harm, that is removed, eliminated, and we do not bring and cause ourselves to be in any harm or problem. How do we do that? How do we do that? This is how we do it. Understand it this way. If you know that if you do more than 3 washings, it's going to be a makruh. You're going to fall into a makruh. And a makruh is something that is disliked. In order to understand more about what is a makruh, what is a sunnah, what is a fard, and all of those, inshallah, And the Aqsamu Hukm al-Shar', you find them online bi'idhnillahi al-kareem as an exclusive, inshallah, as an exclusive lesson bi'idhnillahi al-kareem. Now, when we look at a makruh, you might not be sinning, but it might lead you to sins because of how one might be doing it. Now, let's say, for example, if you doubt whether you've done it twice or not. Now, let's say, for example, you ask yourself, have I washed myself twice or not? So which one is the strongest of doubts of it? The strongest is that I did it once, not twice, isn't it? I did it once and not twice. So what you do is this is what you do. You wash again, and that happens to be, if it's not your second, then it will be your third. Now, have you gone beyond the washing limits? No, you haven't. You haven't at all. But how about if you doubt whether what you've done is the third, or it's not? If you doubt whether it's the third or not, هي الغسلة الثالثة أو لا, this is what you do. You don't. Why? Because first of all, remember, it's a fadilah. It's a virtue. It's an act of virtue. وَلَيْسَ بِسُنَّةٍ وَلَيْسَتْ بِسُنَّةٍ وَلَا فَرِيضَةٍ. It is not a faridah, nor is it a sunnah. And remember, even when it comes to a sunnah, we do not commit something that we know we most likely might fall into a makruh without even realizing. So if you know that it is the third time, or perhaps you doubt whether it's the third time or not, majority of the times is that the strongest one is what? It's 2 times that you've done it, right? But the fear is that if you do it again, it might end up being 4 times rather than it being 3 times. So if that is the case, so what do? You neglect that one and you proceed with your wudu to the rest of the other parts of the bodily limbs, inshallah ta'ala. So now you understand. If you doubt it's 2 times, you repeat it, because the strongest understanding of what you have, belief, is that you've done it only once. So you wash it again, and even if it falls to not be the second time, it will end up being the third time. But if you doubt whether you've done it 3 times or not, you ignore that and you don't do it. You let it be, because otherwise you might fall into a makruh, and that is doing what? Doing a 4th washing, whereas we don't have a 4th washing even in the fadila itself. Now, after mentioning that, you find that Al-Ashmawi al-Rifa'i rahimahullah ta'ala, he gives us another one, and he says, وَالْبَدْءُ بِمُقَدَّمِ الرَّأْسِ وَالْبَدْءُ بِمُقَدَّمِ الرَّأْسِ, and to start with the beginning of the head. And this is related to specifically wiping the head. And what we know is that the faridah of wiping the head is mashu jami' al-ra'si. It is to wipe the entire head, isn't it? But when you wipe, the issue is that what happens is, are you going to wipe in a specific fashion, or can you wipe all over your head? If you wipe all over your head, your wudu is valid still and you are fine. Bear that in mind. Your wudu is valid and you are fine, inshallah ta'ala. Lakin, the best way to do it according to the sunnah, first of all, the sunnah we explained earlier in previous lessons, you notice that it is a sunnah to return back, to repeat back exactly how you did it. So if you started from the back and you came up, you're going to go backwards. If you started from the top and you went back all the way down, you're going to come back up. That is the sunnah. وَرَدُّ مَسْحِ الرَّأْسِ مَسْحُ الْأُذُنَيْنِ. And to return and repeat that washing, but as you go back, you return back. That's what you do. Now, when it comes to the fadilah, the complete wudu is to start from the beginning of where the hairline begins. Even if you don't have hair, you know exactly where the hairline begins, and you go all the way back, and then you come back up. That's what you do, inshallah ta'ala. Now, that's all about washing the head. Now, you notice that the wudu is becoming complete, isn't it? Because look, every single part of wudu has its position. So when we started at the beginning of wudu, when we looked at the fara'id of wudu, the obligations and the compulsory acts of wudu, you notice that there are things which are not part of the fara'id from the many things that we do, like al-madmada. And we know that al-madmada, which is gargling, is not part of the faridah. And let's say al-istinshaq wal-istintharu, that is inhaling and exhaling water from on your nose, in your nose, and you notice that is not a part of the faridah. In fact, it's a part of the sunnah and the part of the sunnah itself. But when it comes to wiping the head, we have 3 levels. We have the level that which is fard, we have the level that which is sunnah, we have a level that which is a fadilah. Now, in order to have a complete wudu, you follow these levels and you have that your wudu is totally complete, the prophetic way, inshallah ta'ala. Now, the last but not least, which you find that Shaykh al-Ashmawi al-Rifa'i, he mentioned, is that as-siwaku. وما هو السواك? what is as-siwak, and we understand clearly about as-siwak. As-siwak, it is to use the toothbrush stick, which is a stick but for brushing. It's a brush stick that we use normally when you go to Saudi, when you go to the Arab world, if you go maybe to the shops that literally sell Islamic goods, let's say Islamic books, Islamic jubbas, and even more abayas. Majority of the times there's a very high chance that you will find these a miswak, basically a siwak that you can use. Now as you use this siwak, now in terms of what we have in Al-Ashmawi Al-Rifa'i, we don't have much detail into this. But when it comes to Ibn Ashir rahimahullah, he explains to us, and that is the sharh itself, as-siwak walau bi usbu'ihi illam yajid ghayrahu. And that is to do siwak, literally to rub over your teeth, to clean over your teeth, even if it is with your finger, if you don't find an actual siwak itself. Itself. Now, what does that mean to say? That means to say that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever he would want to go pray, he would first of all brush his teeth, and normally there were no toothbrushes and toothpaste before. What they had is stick brushes that they would use, and they specifically used a certain type of tree branch. You don't use any type of tree branch. If you have a jasmine type of tree branch, stay away from that. It is harmful and is not right to use. But the right one to use is the olive tree branch. It is the olive tree branch, inshallah ta'ala. And you know what they say? Ista'mil al-araka hatta arak. Use the stick to toothstick brush that you use it as much as you could until I can see you. Now, whether it's seeing your teeth or maybe it's just a type of saying that they use, but just know brushing our teeth is really, really important. And among the many reasons why that we should be doing that is because the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Lawla an ashqa ala ummati," if I was not to make it difficult, if I wanted to make it difficult for my servant, for my ummah, if I wasn't thinking about how difficult it might be for them, لَأَمَرْتُهُمْ بِالسِّوَاكِ, I would have commanded them to brush their teeth, especially during every single salah. That's how important it is when it comes to brushing our teeth. Because remember, you will be standing in front of Allah, in front of our Lord, the Lord that created you, the Lord whom you're going to ask, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, and the only Lord that literally when you have a problem you go back to. And remember, if you're going to your boss, you want to be presented in the best presentation, isn't it? You want your physical appearance to be at its best. And it's the same with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have leeways. We understand that when it comes to the awrah, وَمَا هِيَ الْعَوْرَةِ, what is awrah? According to the Sharia, the Islamic Sharia, the Sharia that we have in the fiqh, in the fiqh understanding for salah specifically. But when it comes to our mouths, them being clean, it is of utmost importance, because not only are we uttering the words of Allah, but we are talking to Allah. And when you want to talk to someone, you have to have a fresh breath. That's what you want. Among the many wisdoms are those, inshallah ta'ala. Now, what they say is that if you want to use your finger, some say that you can use your left hand, some say you can use your right hand. But as you know, if it's a fadilah, you can use both, but best to use your right finger, right index finger. وَيَسْتَكْ بِالسَّبَّابَةِ وَالْإِبْهَامِ. You can use one of the two fingers, inshallah ta'ala. And another thing that we need to look at, bi'idhnillahi al-kareem, is that how about a person that is fasting? Can they use a miswak? A person that is fasting, can they use a miswak? Yes, they can. A person that is fasting, they can use a miswak. Now, something amazing is that this is the end of what Al-Ashmawi Al-Rifa'i provides us with. Alright, it's the end of what Al-Ashmawi Al-Rifa'i provides us with. But then, if you look at Ibn Ashir, there are some which we are going to mention, some which we might provide further detail, inshallah ta'ala, online. Now, another one that we have to look at, bi'idhnillah, is after mentioning وَبَدْءُ مَسْحِ الرَّأْسِ مِن مُقَدَّمِهِ. Now, the next one is تَخْلِيلُهُ أَصَابِعًا بِقَدَمِهِ. تَخْلِيلُهُ أَصَابِعًا بِقَدَمِهِ. What does that mean? When we are washing our feet, remember we said that the faridah is to wash all the way up to the ankles, isn't it? Is to wash all the way up to the ankles. But تخليل أصابع القدمين ليس بفرض ولا بسنة. And to pass water through the toes of the feet, through the thought of the toes of the feet, it is not a sunnah, nor is it a faridah. It is not a sunnah, nor is it an obligation. In fact, it's a fadilah. And that's what makes our wudu to become what? To become complete. Remember, we said at the very beginning, when it comes to washing our, doing our fara'id limbs of wudu, among the things that we mentioned is that we خلل أصابع اليدين وشعر. Make sure that you pass water through your fingers of the hand, your fingers of the hands. That's what you do. And وشعر وجه, and the water of the hair of the face, you make sure that you let water pass through. But when it comes to your feet, your toes, literally allowing water to pass through is a fadilah in itself. Now, we mentioned earlier, among the wisdom that you understand the differences between a faridah of wudu and a sunnah of wudu, and the fada'il of wudu, is the fact that you'll be able to tackle between all of these depending on your time, inshallah ta'ala. Something else that we need to mention after this one is tartibul masnuni. And what do we mean by tartibul masnuni? There's something that was not mentioned over here in al-Ashmawi al-Rifa'i, in the Matn al-Ashmawiyah, but we are going to mention it inshallah ta'ala online. But something else to mention, and we will conclude on this one bi'idhnillahi al-kareem, is that tartibul masnuni أو مع ما يجب. Now, what is that? ترتيب السنن فيما بينها. That is another one. That is to follow an order of the sunnah, for the sunnahs, to follow the order for the sunnah, for the sunan of wudu, to follow the order for the sunan of wudu, inshallah ta'ala. So what does al-Mayyarah, what does he provide us with? He provides us with فيقدم غسل اليدين على المضمضة والمضمضة على الاستنشاق وأما ترتيب المسنون مع المسنون فمستحب. It is a mustahab, something على استحباب. It's something which is liked and something which is recommended to do, and it's good to do as well, although it's not something which is highly recommended, but it is among the methods of doing wudu. So an example that he gave us is that you wash your hands before you gargle water, and you gargle water before you inhale and exhale water. Remember that. That is the following the tartib of the sunan in itself. What about when it comes to tartib sunani ma'al wajibat? This is another one, which is to follow the sunnah of what? Wajibatul wudu. How do you do that? If you have the fara'id of wudu and you have the sunan of wudu, how do you do the order? How do you complete it properly? We now understand what are the sunnahs of wudu, what are the fara'id of wudu. Majority of us, as we do wudu, we know the order of doing wudu. We know the order, but unfortunately we don't differentiate the differences between them. Now this is what happens. He explained that فَيُقَدَّمُ غَسْلُ الْيَدَيْنِ وَالْمَضْمَضَةِ وَالْإِسْتِنْشَاقُ وَالْإِسْتِنْثَارُ عَلَى غَسْلِ الْوَجْهِ. All of the aforementioned on the sunan, how you follow the order on the sunan parts of wudu, you do those first, which is doing what? Washing the hands to the wrists and gargling water and inhaling and exhaling water. After you've done that in order, then you wash your face. Now that is another order that you follow. Then you wash your face. وَيُقَدَّمُ مَسْحُ الْأُذُنَيْنِ عَلَى غَسْلِ الرِّجْلِ. Now you follow the order when it comes to the fara'id of wudu, lakin wiping the ears, it is before washing the feet. Wiping the ears, it is before washing the feet. Now, when you read on Ibn Ashir, he explains to us, وَالْفَرْضُ عَمَّ مَجْمَعَ الْأُذُنَيْنِ وَالْمِرْفَقَيْنِ عَمَّ وَالْكَعْبَيْنِ. And the faridah, or the fard of wudu, it combines nearly even the ears themselves, and وَالْمِرْفَقَيْنِ, it combines the elbows and also the two ankles. But isn't washing the ears or wiping the ears, isn't it a sunnah? Isn't it a sunnah in itself? Yes, it is a sunnah. It is a sunnah. Now we have to separate between that which is a sunnah and that which is a faridah. Now you understand clearly from the majority of things that we've mentioned. Now today's class wouldn't be as long as you think, and majority of some of the things that we haven't mentioned here, inshallah ta'ala, we'll mention them online where you have access bi'idhnillah al-kareem to the information bi'idhnillah inshallah. But what you need to realize is that we've covered nearly 10, if I'm not wrong, 10 or 9 of the fada'il of wudu. And that is at-tasmiyah, we said, al-mawdi'u al-tahir, wa qillatu al-ma'i bila hadd, wa wad'u al-ina'i ala al-yamini in kana maftuhan, wal ghaslatu al-thaniyatu wal-thalithah إذا أحكمت الأولى والبدء بمقدم الرأس والسواك وترتيب السنن فيما بينها وترتيب السنن مع الواجبات. And another thing that we mentioned is تخليل أصابع الرجلين, تخليل أصابع الرجلين. That makes it a total of 10, if I am not wrong, inshallah ta'ala. And these are things that you could be doing from now on in order to fulfill your entire wudu. Now in our next lesson bi'idhnillah al-kareem, as we finished on this, there are other masail that literally Ibn Ashir does not provide. He does not provide. Let's say, for example, when it comes to the makruhat of wudu, which are the disliked acts of wudu, they are not provided here in the Ashmawiyya text. But what we are going to do in our next lesson, we're still going to follow the order of the Ashmawiyya text. We're going to look at the fara'idul ghusl, and that is the obligations of showering and the sunan of showering and the fada'il of showering. We might not be able to finish them in one lesson, we might have to finish them in 2 lessons inshallah ta'ala. But when it comes to the makruhat of wudu themselves, bi'idhnillah al-kareem, do find them online, and you will see the link below. If you if you follow us on our mailing list inshallah ta'ala, it will become much easier for you to be notified with the new episodes being uploaded every single week, every single Wednesday 8 p.m. UK time inshallah. And do make sure that you subscribe to this channel, share with others so they can benefit, so that you can and also after subscribing, do press the bell icon to put your notifications on and ensure that you are always notified as we continue with these lessons inshallah ta'ala. I pray that you stay well, and I will see you inshallah ta'ala in another lesson. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.